Last week we did everything we can to look through all of Kirby's copy abilities and everything that he could do to find the most powerful attack, and we found the most powerful crash copy ability that we could make and craft ourselves in order to one-shot Gormondo. Well, this time, we're not trying to one-shot Gormondo, we're trying to, if anything, 1,000-shot him. Yep, this time we're trying to see what's the weakest attack that Kirby can do to a boss. Now, yeah, technically the weakest attack is Kirby just not damaging it at all by using his basic attacks like breathing on him after a flutter or sliding into him. It just nicks right off and does nothing. But we need damage output as we're trying to see the least amount of damage Kirby can do without it being invulnerable. So today we'll be using every copy ability and even multiples of the same one to figure out what specific attack can do the least amount of damage to a boss. Real quick guys, like this video if you're excited to see which copy ability is going to do the least amount of damage, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on more Kirby content and of course Nintendo content in general. Thank you guys, and let's get on to the video. The first contender we have here is Ice Kirby, and of course we'll be using level 1, but there's two separate attacks that do pretty much the same exact damage every single time. You can hold shield with the ice block and let go, and the shards will damage Gormondo slightly. You can also breathe your ice breath just one time by tapping the attack button just once. Just a little tap, you'll shoot out like one snowflake, which will do the same amount of damage as the shielded Ice Kirby did. So, they're on the board. That's an incredibly small amount of damage, and we're going to keep track of that. For Needle, we used level 1, and picking up stars would just do way too much damage. So we have nothing left but to shoot a quick needle out and back in, but it does a little bit more damage than ice. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not going to be as weak as ice. Yeah, that's a weird statement to say, but yeah, Needle is going to have to be in second place right now. Yes, Deep Sleep actually does do damage, so the bed coming out on the first frame actually does damage Gormondo, and it somehow actually does our most damage yet, a little bit more than Needle, which is kind of surprising. This bed frame must be very thick. Now with Drill, the weakest attack for us to do is to drill into the ground and just move away, so that way there's not extra damage added. The first initial drill in the ground does very little damage, and it's going to be pretty much exactly the same as ice. So yes, ice and Drill right now are tied for first place. Tornado also does the same amount of damage as well if you only hit one frame of it, which is very hard to do, so I had to do it as Gormondo was attacking in order to make sure that his hand went right through with only one of the tornado spins hitting. And if you just get successfully one tornado spin to hit him, it'll do pretty much exactly the same as Ice and Drill. Now I did try out Flare Tornado because I know there's a move where you can spin around and do a light attack, but that light attack is somehow still more powerful than one hit of the tornado attack. So, yep. Can't use it. And throwing a singular bomb is going to do pretty much identical damage to the Needle in Deep Sleep. It's just going to be a little too powerful to be in the Ice/Drill/Tornado abilities. So we now have our new leader in the pack of the weakest attacks. Yep, this shield attack from Gigant Sword is just so weak. It's not even supposed to do damage in the first place, it's just a shield, but it does, and it does just a sliver amount to definitely throw it at the top of the list as one of the weakest attacks so far. But I went back and tried Blizzard Ice as well, and it's the same effect as the Gigant Sword's shield, and it just chips away, but this one just does it a lot faster, so I guess if I were to ever make a challenge to see how long it would take, I guess I could use this. I tried to see if Crash had any hitbox while charging, and nope, it doesn't. It's just going to be a big bang or a constant bang with the time crash. It's not going to work here. And I tried regular Sword Kirby as well, and it's going to do pretty much the same as Ice/Drill/Tornado, because when you do the jump slash and only hit one of the slashes, it does an incredible small amount of damage, but I'm not going to add it because we already have a sword on this list. Cutter is going to fall into the Ice Drill Tornado category as the second best because you can hit with only one piece of the cutter. I like to throw it forward and let it come backwards just one time so it doesn't, hit him twice on the rebound. You can also go up to him and go for the melee attack, which just hitting him one time with a melee attack does the same amount of damage. It's pretty weak. Now fire, even level 1 fire is a pretty good copy ability, but there is a way to do small chip damage, and that's to get a small flame to appear on Gormondo's body. And after a while we can actually get this to happen, and each little tick technically does count as a little hit. And this amount of damage is actually a weird amount. It's like right between the Gigant Shield and the Blizzard Shield, and right between the Ice and the Tornado, which is weird. It's like right in between. It's almost the weakest, but not quite. So what about Hammer? Yes, Hammer is one of the strongest abilities, but it can have some weaker hits. The regular level 1 Hammer Swing does pretty much the average of the Ice, Drill, and Tornado Cutter, but if you charge up a powerful swing swing and don't swing, but just hit Gormondo with the flaming hammer, it will do almost identical damage to the fire chip damage, because that's probably all it is. It's the fire chip damage that's hitting him, not the actual hammer. Yes, I've tried burning the hammer into just a stick and it's smacking him in the face with the stick, but it does a little too much damage for our liking. And then finally we have Ranger Kirby, which shooting just 1 star is the weakest attack that we can do, and it's going to do pretty much what the Ice Drill, Tornado, and Cutter Kirby abilities did. Nothing too crazy here. One thing I guess I could mention here is I did try the Meta Knight Sword at full health. He shoots a beam, but the only problem is I have already leveled it up to +1, and I can't really unlevel it up. Like, I can't bring the rank down, so I can't really see exactly how much damage it's going to do at its base stats. So this one was hard to tell. So I would already say it'd probably be around the last 2 categories because that's where it is now. It probably wouldn't go up that much higher or go down that much lower. We're not quite done yet. This really isn't going to affect the list all that much, but I wanted to include them because it's funny. Beard Bear made a video on YouTube showing off how the Mouthful Mode abilities could go against the bosses as he modded them into boss fights. And they're all going to do a lot of damage overall. Like, they're not going to even get near this list. The closest we get is to just spitting out the Mouthful Modes onto the bosses, do a little bit of damage around the level of Needles / Deep Sleep and Bomb, but it's about the same category, if not a little bit more damage than that. And that, guys, is all of the different abilities and stuff that we could use. I know I didn't use Kirby using a star, but once again, the stars do a lot of damage in this game, so they weren't even going to make the cut in the first place. So our winner is going to be the Gigant Shield and the Blizzard Ice Shield. Both of these are really good, or technically in this case, very weak, but this is going to be a 2-way tie. I still like to think that Gigant Shield is better just because how slow it is in this case, which is technically worse. It's a confusing video. But these are your winners. What do you guys think? Is there anything that I could have done differently or changed up or maybe missed? Comment them down below if I did. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you really enjoyed this video and want to see more challenges and fun videos like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Kirby in the Forgotten Land and all things Nintendo in general. And like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See you guys.